Welcome to Daz's Unite. This is a series of tutorials on shaders in Daz Studio that we're going to be covering today. Shaders are amazing, in a word. When I first learned about how to apply shaders and textures to clothing and skin and other objects, it opened a whole new world and really pushed what I could do with the clothing, the small number of clothing items that I actually had purchased at that point. Mixing and matching textures, you can really come up with your own unique look for a given render or a given figure. So in this tutorial, I think we're going to go with, this is Tyrone, which is a sort of a character morph of Darius 8. I really like this character. I like the tattoos especially. He's a great one, and I actually use this for one of my characters, for one of my novels that I've written. I kind of think of him as my main character for that series. So we're gonna, I think the outfit that I have him in is, I've lost track. Let me see if I can find it in case you're looking for it. And I apologize for the strange noises in the background. My schnauzer is convinced that she needs to play with her stuffed animals at 1 o'clock in the morning. So I do apologize. Okay, so I just want to figure out which character outfit this is. For some reason, oh, it's alt style. And I just picked this one up recently, and I haven't even had a chance to use it yet. So let's use it now. When it comes to shaders, the critical thing to note is that you have to select the item in the scene pane. Let's just do the jacket for now. And then you have to actually select it in the surfaces pane. And a given object that you might have in the scene pane is going to have potentially a lot of different surfaces on it. And you may have, okay, like in this one, you have sleeves and the zipper and front panels. And you have to select either the entire object or something specific in there that you want to change the color or texture of. So let's have a look at my shader collection, which once I finally figured out what shaders were for, I went ballistic and picked up a whole bunch of them on sale. So I have a lot to choose from, and I use a lot of the metals ones. I use latex. I use even the gem shaders sometimes. And I'll just kind of flip through so you can get a sense of what some of these look like so that you can see what the possibilities are. So these are bone, ceramics. I have a bunch of construction materials. These are actually free ones from NVIDIA, I think. Sorry, my dog was playing with a bone on the floor. So we've got metal. Those are really pretty, actually. Stucco. A lot of construction materials I have now. There's some default shaders. I always like these car paint shaders. They're really pretty. There's even an emissive one. I have a tutorial already out on how to add emissive lighting. This can actually do something similar. And I won't get into this one for this particular tutorial, but that's available to you. There's glass, which is kind of cool. I have a bunch of fabric ones. And upholstery, just to give you a sense of what those look like. Gems, so we've got jade and onyx and pearl. And there's some more glass, and there's some really cool looking, grungy looking things here. I like some of these. I kind of play around with these and put them on, say, dragons and strange stuff like that, just to see what will happen. And that's really what it boils down to with shaders. Play around, try different things. Don't assume that you have to add a fabric shader to a piece of clothing. You can add metal or gems or scales or whatever you want. So just play around with it and see what comes out of just experimenting. I've got a bunch of leather ones. You can actually pick up some really cool shader packs that allow you to sort of have a base layer and then put some stuff on top of it and then another layer on top of that and add metallic flakes and all sorts of cool stuff. I've even got liquid ones. So let's just give you a sense of what some of these will look like instead of just popping through. Let's do some crazy ones. Let's see. Well, we could look at bone. And remember, you have to select the item and, oh, I just changed the back panel and we aren't looking at the back. Let's look at the front panels. That should be viewable. There we go. And I will put the iRay view on here so that we can see what it would really look like. Hopefully it won't take too long. There you go. Okay, so let's try latex. Maybe this really bright yellow. And we'll take a look at that. So as you can see, there's a lot of options available. Wow, that's bright. Holy moly. We can even do some crazy stuff like liquid. And some of the things you'll do might be see-through. Oh, that's cool. I kind of like that. It has a two-tone effect with some metallic flakes in it. That's awesome. Or car paint. That looks really cool. So you can give things an old world feel, or in this case, something more urban fantasy type of thing. So this one is a new shader kit that I have that's pretty robust in the options. Hang on, my dog is freaking out once again. Okay, so it actually goes through and tells you what to do in each section. In this particular case, I would choose a sort of fabric type. I think I'll go with latex. And then you can choose a pattern. I think I might go with something like, you can mix and match these all you'd like. I'm going to go with a geometric pattern. And then you keep going down and you choose a bump strength, which means how deep the sort of indentations in the, well, let me strike that. It's how high the bumps in the fabric pattern go. So you can see it's almost nothing here, the bump strength, and then it goes really like etched in. And then I'll choose something in the middle. And then after that, it asks me to choose a color. So I think I'll choose this nice blue here. So I don't know if you can see, try to close up here, the pattern in it. So now that I've chosen the color, I can choose some cutout. I can make it all invisible. I can make it completely opaque so nothing is showing through. So let's see what happens when I kind of have a little bit of a cutout. On this one, it's probably too hard to tell because it's kind of a double-sided jacket. It's got an inner lining. Let's see if it has, I don't see a way to actually adjust the inside. But we could do it with the top. So let's try, well, we'll try that in a second. Then I can also add a kind of dirt or fading make it look a little more aged in. And so it doesn't look quite so new. I can also change the metallic strength. So try something a little bit, well, toward the middle, really. That's cool. And then there's some metal reflections, so I can adjust that as well. And then I can change the color of the metal. I might try something bright so you can kind of see the difference. Nice. And then on top of that, I can do a sort of an overlay pattern. And I think this is like a cutout pattern, if I'm not mistaken. Cool. So this one, actually, I use this set quite a bit because, well, it's just plain fun. Oh, here's the cutouts. Anytime it says cutout, that means it's going to be sort of partially see-through. So let's just take a look and see what it does. I don't know if it will work on this particular item. Oh, it did work. Cool. That's awesome. And I think that's the last parameters you can play around with. Oh, you can just kind of zero everything out and start over again. So that's some possibilities. And there's actually some full presets that they've already created for you. So let's just try that with the tank top just to see what that might look like. We'll do something that doesn't look too crazy with this really busy pattern we've just created. I'll try this one. And one thing to note, though, because there's so many reflective surfaces on these items, they'll take longer to render well without noise in the final render. So keep that in mind. So yeah, if there's a lot of possibilities. You just kind of need to experiment and explore different ideas. Actually, I think I might try leather. That would be kind of cool. And don't forget, you can change skin as well. So let's just hide his jacket and tank top. Okay, and then we can actually add those same things to his skin. Let me see if I can grab him. So the way you would do this is you might say pick his arms, I think. No, wait, we have to be in the surfaces pane. So we got to go find Tyrone himself. Yeah, that's the key, is that you've got to be in the surfaces pane. And then you would go down to surfaces inside of him. And you can pick something like his eyeballs or his, in this case, let's do his chest. Let's see, maybe the torso. So let's do something a little crazy. We'll do this one. Let's see if that works. Whoa. Wow, that's cool. So, yeah, as you can see, the possibilities are endless when it comes to shaders. You're really not, there's not a lot in terms of limitations on what you can do. Another thing to be aware of is something called tiling. And one thing that makes a difference is, I think I fiddled around with his torso coloring. But anyway, we'll fix that later. What I wanted to show you is the tiling that you can do. So let's take a look at this crazy tile and see what happens. Wow, okay, that's some crazy stuff right there. So what you would do in the surfaces pane, I think you would keep it on torso, right? Okay, so what I always do is I just type in tiling Or actually, I think I just type in TIL and it brings it right up. And what this does is it changes the sort of how small or how big the pattern is. So it's the default is always 1. And let's just show you what 5 looks like. Okay, and then if I do it the vertical as well, that also changes things. See there? And you don't have to go too far with it. I mean, you can see a significant difference even if you do just, 2 and 2. So that's another option that you can play around with. And there are other things too. You can change all sorts of settings in here. You can change the base bumps so that it's even bumpier. Let's try something crazy like 10 and see what happens. Okay, I can't really tell a difference from here. Let's see what else. I haven't played a great deal with most of these. I usually just pick the pattern that I like and then just start fiddling with tiling. Let's see. So yeah, you might see subtle differences or quite very different depending on what you're changing around in here. So definitely play around. You can also change the base color by double clicking in here. See if it actually works. We'll try something crazy different. Okay, that changes the color quite a bit. Glossy Color is also another one you can fiddle with. So again, there's a lot of possibilities. You've just got to start playing around. Grab yourself a set of shaders or 50 and go to town with it because this is really fun. And that should do it for this tutorial. Thanks for listening and come on back to Dazzy's United and we will learn something new next time. Thanks.